Hey, what's up you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here, bringing you a video review of the movie Ginger Snaps. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's, well, first off, why are you watching it if you don't know what it is? But if you really don't know, then it's a Canadian horror film made in 2000, or at least released in 2000. It's mainly centered around the idea of lycanthropes, or werewolves. And there's a lot more to it than that, though. Okay, well, what mainly attracted me to this movie was the main star in it, Katharine Isabelle, who plays Ginger. And, yeah, well, the two main characters are Katharine Isabelle as Ginger Fitzgerald and Emily Perkins as Bridgette Fitzgerald. They play sisters, obviously. And, yeah, their relationship is, rather unique, I'd say. Right at the beginning of the movie, we see they sort of harbor a fascination with death or something like that. I'll get to that in a minute. But the opening has to be one of the most, I don't know if I want to call it violent or just kind of horrific openings of any movie I've seen. In the fact that, there's going to be spoilers in this, so just a heads up before I really get into it. I have my notes here. You can kind of see how much I wrote here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to talk about everything I wrote down, but these are just the significant scenes, or just points of discussion if I can't think of any off the top of my head. Because there's definitely a lot to talk about in this film for sure. But like I said, it has one of the most horrific openings of any movie I've seen. Just for me personally, because right away we see a mother, playing with her son outside, and then there's the son. You see the little kids has a broken off paw or foot from a dog or something like that, and I guess it's their dog, and they see the mom go over to the dog's house, and it's all torn up and ripped in half and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not really a big fan of that personally, but just because I really don't like animal violence at all. But I mean, granted, the effects for it looked pretty good. What they used to make it look like it was an actual dead dog, I thought looked pretty good. But, it's good. It was good for what it was doing. I'm just saying I'm not a big fan of that stuff in general. But it's nothing really against the film when it comes down to it. But if you can't take things like that, I wouldn't suggest watching this movie. Yeah, and so, like I said, the sisters, Ginger and Bridgette, have a fascination with death, and right away we see that they're playing on the school field hockey team, or it's at least probably during gym class, I'm guessing. And I forget the actress's name who played her. Danielle Hampton. She plays Trina. She's the popular preppy cheerleader type, I guess you could say. And when they're playing the field hockey, Trina knocks over Bridgette, and really cool part is where Ginger goes up to her and says, "Never do that to my sister again." And I just like the way Ginger threatens her there, and you'll see how that comes into play a little bit later in the movie. And right away, one of the things I really love about this movie, even before the whole werewolf thing starts happening, is just the sisters bonding. It's bizarre, yet it's really, really interesting to me. And I think it's really meaningful as well. And I honestly could have watched the whole movie and have had it just been the two sisters going through the school against this bully and stuff. I would have still enjoyed it if it was just about them being who they are. Without the werewolf thing being introduced, I would have loved it anyway. So that's really how much I enjoyed the bonding with the sisters in this movie. And so And I'm just trying to get my thoughts organized here, which is kind of the point of this thing, but really only wrote down scenes. I didn't write down what order I was going to talk about things in or anything like that, so... I mean, do I really need to take you through the whole plot? No, I don't think I do. Okay, so after that happens, we see even more of the sisters bonding, and, you know, they have, like, this sacred pact between them. And, you know, I guess they promised when they were 8 that, you know, they would die together, or one wouldn't live without the other, or something like that. And, like, a famous quote from the movie is, you know, when they say, "Out by 16 or dead on the scene, but together forever, united against the world as we know it." And yeah, I always remember that line from the movie. You know, Ginger says half of it, then Bridgette says the other half. So yeah, again, it's really bizarre, but yeah, I think it's really, really touching as well at the same time to me. Let's see. Oh yeah, and after that, another fun scene in this movie, I guess you could say, is when they have, like, this whole death montage of, like, the fake blood and stuff, and like, we see a video montage of, like, Ginger dead in various situations, and then Bridgette dead in various situations. And then we see it was actually a slideshow for a project for one of their classes. And the teacher, you can see, he's just trying to force himself to say something positive about it, but he just says, "Oh, I am sickened by this," you know. But yeah, really though, I thought it was pretty funny that they actually did that for a project for a class. I would have liked it. Let's see. And then late at night, they are going to... Oh yeah, that's something else I better mention before I get too deep into it. Yeah, like, there's this beast going around that's supposedly killing all the dogs in the neighborhood. You know, thus is why he found that first torn apart dog in the beginning. And, you know, and Bridgette also trips over another dog corpse when they're playing field hockey. You know, when the preppy girl Trina did that to her. She also tripped over a corpse of a dog, which I don't know why anyone didn't see that before, but it's there. So there's this beast going around, you know, which is actually our first werewolf. And so when Ginger and Bridgette go out late at night, you know, they're planning on kidnapping Trina's dog and, like, replacing it with one of the dog corpses, or like or just kidnapping it and making her think that the beast got to it or something like that. Yeah, but when they're cutting through a park, you know, they find a dog's corpse anyway, and at first you'd think, oh, wait, is it actually the Trina's dog? No, it doesn't turn out to be Trina's dog, but it is another dead dog, you know, that's killed by the werewolf. And, you know, at first they actually try to start picking up the corpse, and, you know, they're planning to use that as a way to make Trina think that's her dog, but nope. You know, they finally get grossed out by something. And as soon as I start walking home, Ginger is attacked by the werewolf. You know, we don't know it's a werewolf, but yeah, it's a werewolf, and, you know, she's kind of tossed around a little bit, and, you know, it drags her through the woods a little, but she manages to get away, and, you know, she runs off, and yeah, her and Bridgette run into the road out of the woods, and, you know, and the werewolf goes across the road too, but then gets hit by a van. Okay. Yeah, there's something I better talk about there. Okay, well, first, the guy who hit her with the van, his name's Sam. He's the drug dealer that sells to kids at the school. Yeah, and you'll see there's a little bit more to him later in the movie. But he hits the werewolf that was chasing Ginger and Bridgette. And, yeah, and Ginger and Bridgette get home, and there's a lot of emotion. They're trying to yell out to their mom and dad and stuff like that, or at least their stepfather. And, yeah, but, you know, they're not home, they're out, which is why they're able to go out so late at night. And, And then, Bridget's wanting to call 911 because, there's a lot of blood all over Ginger and stuff like that. But, yeah, then we discover that, Ginger's wounds are, already rapidly healing. Which if you know werewolves at all, then you'll know, yeah, she was bitten, she's infected now. So, yeah, but then we get a pretty touching scene where, Bridget's hugging Ginger and she says, I thought you were gonna die. And so, yeah, that's pretty touching. It was to me anyway. Yeah, and something else I wanted to touch on before I moved on. That first werewolf being killed by being ran over by a van. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about a werewolf being killed like that, but then I guess any car, coming that fast down the road would probably severely injure anything really. At least something of that size. But still, I think it was a little bit cheap that the werewolf was just killed by being ran over like that. But, kind of funny. But, yeah, it's not too big of a deal. It's just a little gripe I have. I guess it's possible. They later point out later that, it's not the Hollywood werewolves, you don't need silver bullets, so it's not really inconsistent with the rest of the movie. It's just something I don't think is too fitting with the rest of the other werewolf stuff we've seen over the years, but it is consistent with the movie, so there's that. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what other scenes I should talk about because I don't really want this to go on for too long. And we're going on about 12 minutes right now, so I don't want this to go for half an hour or anything, but it might. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, so Ginger's infected. Yeah, this is one of the other most interesting parts of the movie. When she's infected, we slowly start seeing her attitude and behavior changing. She becomes a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more assertive, I guess you could say. Or she's getting into different things that she won't really be into before. And yeah, that's another thing about this movie. They sort of use the process of the werewolf transformation of Ginger as like a metaphor for a period. And that's another funny thing about this, the mother in the movie, who's played by Mimi Rogers. She plays Pamela, their mother, and yeah, she's kind of the comic relief of the movie. And she kind of plays like the clueless, awkward mother, you could say. And she's kind of funny throughout the movie, I guess, just for the awkward spots. She puts the sisters in and things like that. I might get into that a little bit later again, but we'll see. Yeah, but really though, Ginger's acting differently, not because of the period as much. I think it's just because she's slowly turning into a werewolf. So, like I said, her attitude and her behavior is changing. And like at the earlier part of the movie, we've seen this jock, preppy type. I think his name was Jason McCarty. He hits on Ginger and he says, "Fitz, I think you and me should go out or hang out or something like that." And it's really funny and awkward at the same time. Both Ginger just stands there awkwardly, and then Bridget's just like looking at him back and forth. And then Ginger just says, "No." And so you can see, Ginger really has no interest in things like that, or at least not as far as Jason McCarty goes. And yes, you could say, she is having a period in the movie, and that's, her hormones are starting to get a little bit, how it goes. But really, though, I think it's more about what the werewolf transformation is doing to her. I mean, like, what I'm saying is Ginger would normally reject guys like that, but once she gets infected, she actually starts, she starts smoking pot with jocks and, Jason and things like that. And, the preppy girl, Trina, she shows up, and, when Ginger and the guys are smoking pot in the back of the drug dealer's van, Sam. And And, Ginger just insults Trina again, then she kicks Trina's dog, which again is an example of her changing personality. And which is why she was probably smoking pot with the guys in the back. And then we see Ginger starts growing fur or hair on the wound she has, or that we can still actually see from the claw marks and stuff. So yeah, the process is moving along. And the school nurse assures both of them that's just a normal thing, it's all because of the period and stuff, and that's kind of another awkward, funny scene in the movie. Another funny line is, we see Ginger, Bridgette having dinner, they're eating chicken, I think, and then, Ginger says, I wish these were baby's legs. Yeah, it's funny, it's like, bizarrely funny in parts, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, and Ginger is changing even more because we see her making out with Jason, the jock that she completely rejected before. So yeah, that's not like her at all. It's because of what the werewolf transformation's doing to her. Yeah, and we slowly see her changing. She actually slowly grows a tail, and her hair starts getting more and more white in it. So when we see Bridgette pull down Ginger's panties late at night, and we see Ginger's trying to grow a little tail too, wiggle wiggle, and that's kind of cute actually. So there's that, and we find out that Sam actually knows a little bit about werewolves and lycanthropes himself. And they say it's not going to be like the Hollywood movies because the one he ran over died without the use of silver bullets. So there's that. They bond. Bridgette and Sam bond a little bit. And Ginger's getting a little bit more of a reputation of a slut, being a slut at the school. Because of how she's just going after Jason, making out with him in public and things like that. Then Ginger and Jason drive off, and they're kind of getting close to having sex. I think they actually do, and I think Ginger actually bites him or claws him anyway, and it infects him too. And they have sex after that, unprotected sex. Or it was either because Ginger bit him a little, or I think it might have been because since they had unprotected sex, it could have been the disease could have been transmitted from Ginger to him. So yeah, I think that's what it actually was. And it's funny, right before Ginger really gets into it with him, she says, "You're fucking hilarious, cave boy." And I thought that was pretty funny because this guy's eyebrows are kind of thick. Let's see. Then after that, that's another thing. We see this little kid. He's kind of like a chubby, fatter kid. He's playing with his smaller dog. He's like, "Come on, Norman." He has a hockey stick, and Norman, the little dog's dangling on it. It's pretty cute. But after the whole Ginger and Jason thing, and when they have sex, Ginger comes out there, and we find out she actually kills Norman, the dog, the little one I told you about just a second ago. And she comes into the house, into her and Bridgette's room. Her mouth is covered in blood, and she says, "I thought the eggs were because I wanted sex, but and she said it's because I want to tear everything to fucking pieces." Yeah, and so she probably felt like a urge or a need in her. She thought it was because of the sex and the period stuff, but no. Like I said, it was more about the werewolf transformation, and she actually wants to start killing everything that she sees. So the process is getting deeper and deeper. Let's see. Yeah, this is another scene I really like in the movie. It shows them playing field hockey at school again, and once again Trina knocks, the preppy bully girl, she knocks over Bridgette again, and Ginger snaps. And she just charges Trina and just completely takes her down. And it's awesome because it's finally someone giving it to the bully themselves. so Ginger knocks down Trina and just starts beating her down. You know, she punches her in the face. Ginger punches Trina in the face a few times, gives her a bloody nose. And yes, you know, Ginger probably wouldn't be that openly aggressive, at least not that fast, you know, if she wasn't being transformed right now. Because like I said, it's affecting her personality and stuff, but yeah, I still thought it was awesome, because I think eventually, even if Ginger wasn't turning, if she was just Ginger and she wasn't into all this guy stuff, then I think she'd still eventually confront Trina about what she's doing to her sister, you know, Bridgette. So yeah, I think Trina would have been confronted by Ginger eventually either way, but because Ginger's transforming into this werewolf, she just completely lost it there and just let her, you know, bloodlust completely caused her to go after Trina and just, you know, give her that bloody nose, which I thought was completely badass scene in my opinion. I loved it. Because he always likes seeing the bully get, you know, their taste of their own medicine and things like that. So that was pretty cool, for sure. And let's see. Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about every single scene on here, but yeah, and this eventually leads to Trina, you know, confronting Bridgette late at night, you know, saying, "Oh yeah, you're stealing, you know, that drug dealer from me," because the drug dealer, you know, Sam's showing interest in Bridgette, you know, because of the whole lycanthrope thing. You know, Trina's upset about that, and she accuses them of, you know, taking her dog, but I don't think they actually did yet. And then they get interrupted by Ginger, and, you know, Ginger grabs Trina and takes her inside the house. You know, Ginger has a hold of her, and, you know, she's kind of, you know, like thumping her on the head and stuff, you know, taunting her, which I actually really enjoyed. Because, yeah, you're not supposed to like Trina at all in the movie, because, you know, she's just a bitch, basically. But, yeah, still, you know, so it is kind of, you know, getting a little bit scarier with the way Ginger's acting and stuff, you know. You know, and Ginger, you know, Trina gets away for a second, and then, you know, she grabs a knife from the kitchen. She's threatening Ginger and Bridgette with it, but she slips on the spilled milk, and she just hits her head on the corner of the counter, and then I think she actually falls on the knife too. So yeah, she's dead. Yeah, so, and so their kitchen is basically just getting covered in blood and stuff like that. And now Trina's dead body's there, so they have to cover that up. And the parents are getting home, and, you know, they come in, and yeah, it's cool because they cover it up by, you know, Ginger laying down, you know, with the blood and stuff, and, you know, it just looks like it's one of their death scenes they're taking photos of again, you know, like we seen at the beginning. And, you know, so the father's a little bit suspicious, but, you know, the mother reassures him that, oh, it's just one of the girls', you know, school projects or whatever, you know. You know, don't be such a big baby. And, so yeah, it's kind of cool how they covered it up there. And, let's see. Yeah, it's funny, a little bit later, you know, the father's raking and he finds the... wait, hold on. And we see that, it's a really funny scene because the mother goes to the freezer in the shed outside, you know, and, you know, she's gonna, like, be putting some, like, beef or meat in there, and then, you know, that's actually where they stored Trina's body, and right before the mother's able to look in there, you know, Pamela, Bridgette comes in and distracts her, and she says, "What do you guys want?" Okay, that was really funny and awkward, you know, because Bridgette doesn't have any interest in that either, and, you know, it's just a way to completely get the mother to focus on that instead of, you know, looking in the freezer and stuff. So yeah, we just see like a cut of Bridgette sitting on the couch and the mother saying, and that's what guys want, you know, or whatever, you know, and, you know, Ginger's just there smiling and nodding and stuff, you know. So I skipped over exactly what the mother told Bridgette about what guys want, but you can probably fill that gap in for yourself. And it's funny how they did that too, so that cut was pretty funny. And, you know, so, yeah, like Bridgette, you know, caused the whole thing to be avoided of, you know, the mother discovering the body, but at the same time she had to sit down for quite a while, it's implied, and just listen to the mothers rant about what guys want and what girls should do and stuff like that. So I thought that was like awkwardly funny again. And that's another thing about the movie. It has like a sort of like a darker humor to it too, which I enjoy for the most part. Let's see. Again, just going over my notes, making sure I don't miss anything I really want to talk about. Let's see. Eventually we see Ginger trying to cut off her own tail. Yeah, because they're, they're trying to tape it down earlier, And, Bridgette, remember, I like how Ginger calls Bridgette B in the movie, like, B, So, like, B, reminds Ginger when she's trying to cut off her own tail that, she says, "You can't leave me alone in this world because I wouldn't do that to you." And they start, like, crying and tearing up. And it was another really touching scene in the movie. I really enjoyed that. You still get to see some of the sisters bonding before, things go too far. And then, B, or Bridgette, ends up locking Ginger in the bathroom in the morning. And, because Ginger's getting a little bit more unstable and out of control. From the infection, and then when Bridgette's on the road, to go get the cure with Sam and things like that, well, not the cure, but the monk's hood, the cousin to Wolfsbane, they think is going to be enough to cure Ginger and stuff. Bridgette at first tries to get Sam to think that's for her, but Sam figures out it's actually for Ginger. And when Bridgette's on her way to talk to Sam, she runs into Jason, who's transforming a little bit himself. We see his eyes are changing. He's getting like different teeth, and he has some marks on his face and stuff. And we see Jason. He's starting to go after a little kid, but Bridgette stops him, and she injects Jason with the syringe with the monk's hood in it. And we think that cures Jason, because he gets up and he just starts, yeah, I have a class, and he just like runs off. Yeah, but again, I don't know if I want to spoil this part, but yeah, maybe I'll just talk about this when I do a review on the second movie. Yeah, I'll save that later. Keep that pretty vague right there until I review the second one. And so there's that. Then we see Ginger at the school, and Ginger goes to the school and she flashes a couple guys. And the guidance counselor sees her doing it, and then he brings her into his office. Then Ginger ends up killing the guidance counselor, just mauling him, because he was going to call their mother about it. Then, she didn't want that to happen. And then, Bridgette arrives there, and she tries to get Ginger to stay there while she goes off, but Ginger ends up killing the janitor as well, or at least attacking the janitor. And the janitor is this Asian guy who, Ginger sort of thought was being a perv to Bridgette earlier in the movie, which he may or may not have been. But, yeah, and she doesn't fully kill the janitor, but, she attacks him enough to infect him. And so basically, Ginger has to kill him after that, so she kills the janitor as well, to prevent him from turning as well. Let's see. And then we see, Ginger sort of offer Bridgette to, let Ginger infect her, and so they can, like, be a pack together. It's so us, B. It's so us. And, it's getting a little bit more tense and stuff, which is, I'll talk about that in a second. And, but Bridgette refuses, and then, Ginger beats her a little bit. And yeah, it's another good thing about this movie, like the rising tension as the movie goes on, just gets a little bit more serious and scary as it goes, I think, which is really cool for the atmosphere and tone of the movie, you know what I'm saying? Then the mom discovers Trina's body in the freezer. They buried it, actually, after that. But the mom discovers it, Pamela. And Yeah, what she does next is pretty surprising. Ginger goes to this like late night party at the drug dealer's greenhouse, Sam's, and she's like walking through the crowd, and everyone thinks like her changing face is like a costume or like makeup, but it's actually her transforming more into a werewolf. And so Ginger goes to this party, and she makes out with one guy, and then she starts trying to seduce Sam in his room. And then Bridgette's running down the road trying to get to Sam and Ginger, so they can cure both of them, basically. Well, so they can cure Ginger, I mean. And then the mom pulls up beside her, and after that, the mom actually says something really surprising here. She sort of blames herself for the girls going down the road they're going on, with a murder and everything like that. She doesn't know the full extent of why that happened, but she still sees that they killed someone. So, actually they didn't kill Trina, did they? But, they did cover up the body and things like that. So the mother surprises Bridgette here, when she, offers her, says she's gonna, burn down the shack or the house first thing in the morning, and then they can just leave and start fresh, just us girls. So it was really surprising to see the mother say that. Then it kind of makes you think there's more to her too, or she's at least a little bit darker than she lets on, I think. And Bridgette kind of reassures her and comforts her that none of this was her fault. It was all them. What's going on now. It's just a pretty touching scene in its own right, because we actually see Bridgette tearing up a little bit. And then, Bridgette confronts Ginger inside the greenhouse with Sam and stuff, after Sam pushed Ginger off from seducing him. And, then Bridgette actually, cuts part of her hand with a knife, and then, like they did the pact a few years ago, she does it again with Ginger, and thus the blood mixing would cause Bridgette to be infected as well. So Bridgette did that as a way to lure Ginger to follow her, back to the house where they could actually inject both of themselves with monk's hood to cure both of them. But that kind of gets messed up when Sam knocks Ginger out with a shovel. And Bridgette gets pissed off because it was actually working, she was actually getting Ginger to follow her back to the house, where they could have at least had a chance at curing both of them. But Sam knocks Ginger out with a shovel, and so they have to drag her body and put her back in the back of the van. And when that happens, Ginger's like fully transforms in the back of the van into the werewolf, and so she's like completely lost now. And when they get to the house, they pull into the garage, and they're looking around in the back of the van, then Ginger bursts through the van and like runs into the house. She's, like I said, fully transformed into the werewolf now. And so you hear the Ginger wolf, running around, just like knocking over everything and just tearing everything up inside the house. And then so Bridgette and Sam slowly go into the house, and they know they need to get to the monk's hood in the house, so they can at least have a shot at curing Bridgette, at least, if not Ginger, if they actually get a chance to inject Ginger in full werewolf form, which may or may not be possible. It depends if it still works, even though she's so far along. Ginger, I mean, so we'll see. And so they hide in this closet, and they start, like, they put more of the monk's hood in liquid form into the syringe, and then Ginger Wolf, grabs Sam, and, she attacks Sam and just, like, completely tears him up throughout the house and stuff like that, so it's kind of brutal. There's a lot of blood. And then eventually, the atmosphere and the tone of the rest of the movie right now at this point is just really, really good, I think, because we feel the tenseness of what Ginger is now, and I thought it was actually pretty scary, or at least it felt like it had a really good tone to it. You guys know what I mean if you've seen the movie. It's like has a really good edge right now. And so Bridgette ends up eventually finding Ginger Wolf with Sam, and Sam's barely alive. And then, there's still part of the wolf in Bridgette because she infected herself. And so, like, part of her, she starts, like, drinking the blood that's on the floor right next to Sam from him. And, Ginger Wolf, is kind of, drinking alongside her. And part of that was Bridgette's kind of giving in to what she's becoming. But she actually, starts throwing up the blood because most of her is still pretty human. And, yeah, whoa, it's hot. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, then Bridgette ends up refusing, with the last bit of her, her being human to, she refuses to, kill Sam like that. And so Ginger Wolf just, like, bites Sam in the throat, killing him in front of Bridgette, which is kind of, like, it's kind of sad to see, but it's pretty brutal as well. It's more brutal than sad, really. And so then Ginger Wolf starts chasing Bridgette all over the house again. I think it was a great few scenes of the chase in the house. I thought it was really well done as far as, like I said, the atmosphere and the tone goes. So, yeah, before I get to the ending, the design for Ginger Wolf, or the werewolves in this movie, I'm kind of iffy on. And guys, just give me 1 second. I have the DVD I can show you. Yeah, so I have the DVD right here. And you can kind of see the design of Ginger Wolf, at least right here. White fur and things like that. So yeah, overall, as far as the werewolf design goes, I'm a little bit iffy on that. That's probably my least favorite thing about the movie, as far as the main stuff goes. I mean, it's not a bad design. I really appreciate that all the effects are practical and they don't use CGI or anything like that. But I thought the design could have been a little bit better. But for what is, I'm not a fan of the design, but I do think the makeup and stuff and all the costume for it looks pretty good, though, as far as the effects goes. I'm just not a fan of the design in general, you know what I mean? But it's not really too bad, and it's pretty effective when it actually kind of is fully revealed at the end of it with Ginger Wolf and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay, and as far as the ending goes, Bridgette ends up grabbing both a knife and the syringe with the monk's hood in it, supposedly the cure. And so, Ginger Wolf ends up cornering Bridgette in their bedroom. And, eventually, Bridgette's trying to, one last time, to get to Ginger, trying to talk to Ginger if she's still inside somewhere, And she's saying, I'm your sister, it's me. But, Ginger ends up leaping at her anyway, and, they fall down in the bed together, and you see it's revealed that Bridgette actually stabbed Ginger Wolf with a knife instead of injecting her with the monk's hood. So you can see, like, the complete torment and like, how horrifying it would be for Bridgette to know that, oh yeah, I could have cured her, but instead I stabbed her and now I killed her, she's dying. So yeah, it's a really, really, really sad scene. And then the Ginger Wolf is pretty much taking her last breaths after that. And, and Bridgette's just completely broken, really. We see great acting from Emily Perkins here, too. And we see her completely tearing up all over her face and things like that. And, like, earlier in the house, we seen her looking at a picture of her and Ginger from when they were younger and stuff. So it's really sad because, Bridgette, like, crawls over to Ginger Wolf's body while she's breathing for the last few times, and she kind of lays on top of her and just hugs her until Ginger Wolf, finally takes her last breath and dies. And it was really, really, really sad and emotional, and the camera just goes through all these little photos of Ginger and Bridgette together and things like that. And it had me on the verge of, I was tearing up a little bit, it had me on the verge of crying. So yeah, there's the ending for Ginger Snaps. And this review has gone on for almost 40 minutes. Wow, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to make this review that long. I really apologize. But if you have stuck with me for this long, I really applaud you and I thank you. So, yeah, overall, it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, if not my favorite horror movie of all time. I loved loved Ginger Snaps. And, yeah, Emily Perkins was pretty impressive in this. And that's the great thing about it, because, you know, they actually knew each other growing up and stuff like that. You know, they went to the same, let's see. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not getting this wrong here. Yeah, they auditioned the same day together for the movie, and they went to the same private school and preschool and things like that, so they're actually real friends in real life. Emily Perkins and Katharine Isabelle. And yeah, like I said, Emily Perkins is pretty impressive in this movie to me. She gets more of a role in the second movie, but you know, with Ginger being dead and all of that. But Katharine Isabelle, you guys know how much I like Katharine Isabelle right here, or Katharine Isabelle right there. Yeah, I really like the makeup, like right before she fully transforms into a werewolf. If you guys can see that, I actually really like that design right there. I thought the makeup was pretty good for Ginger and Katharine Isabelle right there. And yeah, you guys know how much I love Katharine Isabelle in every movie she does, and she was great in this movie as well. Ginger Snaps is still probably one of, if not her most well-known role, as Ginger Fitzgerald. And yeah, I love both of the characters, especially Ginger. I loved her, and I thought Katharine Isabelle did a fantastic job again. Especially since she was only 17 or 18 when this movie was made, so it's even more impressive, really. And it's funny, Emily Perkins is actually older than she is, but she played the younger sister. And Katharine Isabelle played the older sister, Ginger, so. But hey, if whoever fit the role more, it's who fit the role more. It's what it is. And they both did a fantastic job, and yeah, can't really say enough about this movie. I mean, like I said, it got really, really tense, especially towards the middle and end. It was really, really thrilling and got more scary as the movie went on, so I really applaud all that. And I really enjoy that it was all practical effects and not CGI. And the werewolf design, it's kind of iffy on that, but the effects for it looked pretty good in my opinion. And all the makeup and stuff like that. And yeah, so yeah, the ending was really sad and emotional, but they didn't wimp out. They had one of them die at the end. So I thought it was a pretty good ending overall. I didn't enjoy seeing Ginger die or anything like that, but I admit it's well done. It was satisfying. So yeah, there's my review finally for Ginger Snaps. I'll be reviewing the second one soon, and the third, prequel, Ginger Snaps. Next review you'll see me do will be for Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed. And then after that you'll see me review Ginger Snaps Back to the Beginning, the prequel in the trilogy. So yeah, you'll see me get to the other two pretty soon, within the next couple weeks at least. So yeah, there's my review, and this is by far my longest video ever. But I hope at least some of you guys maybe enjoyed it to a degree, I don't know. I mean, I've lost about 6 or 8 subscribers recently, but I think that's because some of you guys originally subscribed to me for my figure videos. But I apologize, but this is what I'm into now. This is what I'm doing videos on. So yeah, hope at least some of you guys enjoyed this review. I definitely love this movie. Easily my favorite horror movie of all time, along with the prequel Ginger Snaps Back to the Beginning, which I'll be reviewing in a couple weeks. After Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed, of course. And so yeah, there it is. My favorite horror movie, my favorite horror trilogy. Love this stuff. Love Katharine Isabelle. And I'll catch you guys next time. And peace. It's better than all the slasher stuff too with Jason and Freddy. I love Ginger Snaps a hell of a lot more. Peace.